So welcome, Israel. This is exciting to have you guys in the house. You guys have requested a visit with us, Divergence. We also have Kim, our administrator, because she is our girl, our go-to. And right now we're collaborating with Israel right now to help convert our forms into Hebrew. So I know you guys have some questions, and we're definitely passionate about developing your area because we know that the pressure that you guys are under, and you're among our loved ones. So we want to definitely take care of you guys. So absolutely. So with that, Anat, how about we start with you, and you can talk to us about what you're hoping to do and accomplish and how we can help you with that.
Okay, thank you so much. And sorry for the misunderstanding about the hour.
I know we actually, I just talked to Kim. We're putting a time converter up on our website. So that would
great.
Our time in there, you just enter your city and your country, and then you guys know there seems to be some confusion, especially with Israel and Australia with the time zone for some reason. So we want to nip that in the butt. So we'll have that conversion up shortly.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I have a list of questions. I don't know if you wanted to say something first. I have questions that I collected. The guys here also have questions. Do you want me to just start asking?
Yeah, let's just go right into the questions. And then after that, we can have a little discussion and kind of bring the collective together and where our direction's all going. And, we'll address some of our technical difficulties as they are. And I think we'll be able to get through this one not too badly. So yeah, go ahead, Anat.
Thanks. So first of all, we keep wondering about the Hebrew and the English, because on the one hand, the courts here should be able to deal with English. English is a language that people speak here. It's
sure.
The main language is Hebrew, but we learn English in school, and lawyers know English. On the other hand, you talk about coming in with clean hands and being respectful. So I'm worried if we serve English documents, are we respectful? Are we coming in with clean hands if we serve them documents in a different language than we speak? We're not going to speak in English in the court. I don't have good enough English. Some people do.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. And to answer that, Annette, I think we were discussing last night, I think maybe a viable opportunity, or the way we should approach this is if you guys can. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Okay, so all the legislation in Israel, it is in Hebrew, you're suggesting, correct? There is no English? Okay, yes. So if I can put my eyes onto Israel's paperwork, but in English, like if I can see Israeli legislation in English, then I can deal with it, no problem. And then I'll give it back to you in English, and then you guys would just literally have to convert it into Hebrew, but at least you know exactly what you need to convert. And again, clearly I can't read Hebrew. So if I can look at it first in English, then I can give you guys exactly what you're going to need. And I think we can eliminate a lot of downtime by letting me see it in English first. Now, how we accomplish that, I'm not too sure. I guess we'll have to develop that. Whether you guys help me translate it, or you guys somehow we actually convert that legislation into English again so that I can see it, and then we can go from there. I think that'll be the simplest way to bring about what we're trying to achieve here. So
do you have a translator in mind? Because that's Darren and I, that's our biggest concern, is like taking our forms, converting them, and then we have no way of verifying that's what the information is, right? So what are your suggestions for that?
I talked to a guy today who is a translator, French, Hebrew, and English. I speak also French, Hebrew, and English. The thing is that I took each paper of yours really to decorticate it, to put it down into, first of all, so I saw some dates and number which we have to verify what it is exactly.
Okay.
Because me and Maoz, we did my name is Limor, by the way. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
I'm sorry. Yes. And we did the UCC one already.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yes, we did the course with Bibi Bakrus. Maoz did it, but he helped me just to go through the paperwork and to do it.
Sure. Okay.
The thing is that as soon as I saw your video with Almog from Australia sent me, I said, this is it, It has to be a way to do it simply, more simply, less paperwork,
Yes.
because in the beginning of the Corona, we started the group with Uri and Maoz, and later on came other people, but we investigate exactly all this area of being sovereign.
Right.
So it started with the quantum community.
Okay. Yep.
So anyway, when I saw your video, I said to Anat, I think we watched the first one for 3 days just to put down all the little things and to go after that when we got the paper. So I went inside the paper and I went into the legislation in Hebrew. And believe me, I could see through the the huge labyrinth.
Okay.
And actually, when you take a piece of legislation and you translate it into English, it will be more or less the same, you know, with
Perfect.
a lot of what you call it lacuna, you know, the lacune, where they're saying this is no and this is no, but if you want this, you have to go there, and if you want something else, you have to go over there. So you have to pick it up. And this is more or less, so to translate it, we were thinking to do it with we found a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
We were not very happy to do it with lawyers because until now I haven't I called many lawyers, and I asked many people that has to do with legislation, and they didn't know what we were talking about.
Yeah, unfortunately, part of the problem here is that the lawyers, they don't want to really help us do this stuff because they're trying to essentially protect something that they've spent 1,000 years trying to build. However, at the end of the day, I'm still convinced that we will be able to find a good lawyer, and really, we only need to find one in the entire world that's going to kind of help put a certain twist on stuff for us. But again, keep in mind that I'm kind of looking at that as plan B. I feel very firmly that we can achieve all this without the lawyer. But and again, like I was saying in the video the other night, I'm not opposed to having a lawyer come in just to overview or take a look, or perhaps maybe provide a little bit of guidance. And if Israel, if it's not going to be as cooperative with trying to help us get a lawyer to take a look at this, I know we do have other loved ones in our groups here that they are having relationships with lawyers trying to deal with certain problems, and that's where we can introduce what we're trying to do. But again, yeah, most of the lawyers, they don't really want us doing this stuff. Why? Because we're actually taking bread away from their plate. Once we all start checking out of the system, that's less clients for the lawyers. So on one hand, they're kind of in a hard place, and they don't want to help us, but by law, they are supposed to help us. So I'll help negotiate that. And if you are able to, again, have that relationship with a lawyer, and if you are able to find one that can help a little bit, I think that's worthy. But if we don't find that lawyer, I don't think we need to waste a lot of time with that. I think we'll be able to do it ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. So Anat, you want to ask question? Because I have question only about the paper, really, to go down into the details that I'm not so sure. Yeah. And to verify a few places because I don't think I've seen all the paper yet.
Okay.
And I said to myself, until I won't understand what it's talking about, there's not even a point to see you, because we need to get all the information and to look at the what you call it, the spine, you know.
Yeah.
The spine,
yeah.
the basis of what each paper is doing. What is it? What the purpose? So we could understand vaguely, because we don't understand everything. Yeah. But we will see maybe later on about the little details.
Sure. Yeah.
Kim brought up something in the chat about using Google Translator. Now, Uriel, you were mentioning it might not be so accurate. So this will actually, and this is what's great about this video being recorded, is a lot of loved ones are going to be seeing it. So they do have some suggestions as far as lawyers, translators, you know, even if we just did a translation and then had somebody, like, for instance, you look that over to make sure it's all correct, you know, that would kind of maybe simplify things. We don't know this, right? So we're now approaching this part of our, you know, what we're trying to accomplish here as far as getting the translating done. So we're going to have to figure this out one way or the other, and we're figuring it out with you guys first of all. So great suggestions, and we'll see what comes back for comments as well from this video.
Sure.
We were speaking with a professional translator. He's a professional legal translator, because when you use the Google Translate or something like that, what comes out doesn't make any sense. And the words have a different meaning completely. It's nothing like the legal document mean. It's something else entirely. So we did speak with someone to translate to Hebrew.
Okay.
And the thing is, what the dilemma is, because you are asking if maybe we have all the laws in Hebrew also in English.
Yeah.
And I was also wondering that, and I didn't have the chance to look for it yet.
Okay.
Maybe if all Israeli legislation can be found in English, then maybe it would be really simpler.
Sure.
Yeah.
Limor, do you think maybe the legislation in Hebrew can also be found already in English?
Okay.
That's what we're going to have to find out, because that's the game changer right there.
That would be nice. And I think maybe ultimately what I should do here, guys, is I will go through our process and I will actually start to thin it down. I will simplify it. And I'm going to try to simplify it, but I'll throw a number out there. I'll try to cut it in half. And that way we're doing a lot less translating, and we're just right very specific. I mean, not that my stuff's not, our stuff's not specific. It is, but I did a lot of it. Is all of that absolutely necessary? I'm going to say probably not. I could probably literally cut our program in half. And I think that would be a nice start. And I think you guys would be the perfect loved ones here to guinea pig that with. And then that way we're just minimizing the amount of material we have to translate. And then we'll speed it all up. Kim will be way happier if I only give her 50% of the stuff to work with. So
very happy, Kim.
So again, I will be working on that here. I'm going to say in the very near future, and by near future, I'm going to say in the next day or two, I'll probably be able to start putting some serious time and effort into that for you guys. And that's actually going to help for the rest of the world, believe it or not, but it'll start with you guys. Because I know, again, I put the first round of material out there. I did it overboard. I did it heavy duty. I did it way more than necessary, to the point where the judge is probably going to be looking at it going like, wow.
Like overkill.
Overkill. So I'm pretty confident that I will be able to chop almost 50% of this for you guys. So,
Darren, I have a question for you.
Sure.
If we take for example the first one, I have your Excel program with the paper. So I'm looking, for example, at the first one. Okay, the special affidavit of execution.
Yes.
The protector purchaser.
Yep.
So just to give you an example, I found the like a legal dictionary.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I play with it, and I look only in the banking and capital domain,
okay,
or in the domain of legal of commercial legal. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So only these two they give me. I even found the exact definition of surrender for redemption, I think, but I'm not sure it was this one.
Okay.
So I could look at by the law, what does it mean?
Sure.
But for other things, I'm not so sure that it's the same, because sometimes they put a word translated into the word surrender. But
okay,
when for example the word security, okay, here in this paper there is we were fighting over this sentence. That the security interested in whole for the estate. Wait 1 second, it's not this one. Okay, it's the guarantee in possession of absolute title respecting particular certificate security in a register form. This is understandable, but there is Anat, you remember yesterday we were talking about this sentence.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look for it, because we were understanding that the certificate security, the word interest, it's not always the interest that the income that is coming on plus. The word interest is also have an interest in something.
There you go. Yeah. There's
So
actually, there's,
I'm talking about the double meaning. Yeah.
yeah, there's kind of two definitions to the word interest there. Like you said, it's the amount that's attached to a principal that increases the borrower's liability. Or, hey, I'm interested in going outside today and playing fetch with my dog. Well, that's got nothing to do with money. So you're right. If we can nail down that particular sentence, if we are making progress with the word surrender, very important. If I had to pick 3 words that were our go-to words, or the ones that are very significant, the adverse claim or a claim of right, that's one of them. The surrender for redemption, that's 2. And then the security interest being transferred, that's 3. If we can nail down those 3, we're good. The rest we can just put into place. But if we can home in on those 3, and that's essentially the spine or the backbone, like you're saying, of what we're trying to do.
So if I understand correctly, now you're talking about only 3 papers, which are the most important.
The 3, just the 3 phases or the 3 words. Okay. So if you guys can find the translation for adverse claim or a claim of right, that's one thing we need to find. If you have already found the surrender explanation, very critical. And if we are finding the security interests, that's very important, because all we now have to do is deliver it. So those 3 things, that's all we really need to find. The rest, I can actually just find 1 or 2 little pieces of legislation to support those 3, and then we'll be flying. And again, ultimately, when I say I'm going to try to chop it down by 50%, this might wind up being even shorter than that, which is very advantageous for all of us here. So we can, I'll break it down and we'll put it into a bit of a list. We can do that here very shortly, where I'll just list a few, again, those 3 and maybe a couple of other ones. I mean, just off the top of my head, that will come in very handy later. Like the securities intermediaries, that's the third party that we wind up mailing everything to. If we can find out who they are, and typically that's securities intermediaries, that's just a clearinghouse. That's just like a bank or a credit union or someone that deals in negotiable certificates. That's typically all that the securities intermediaries are. And usually it's just vital statistics. It's the department of the government who sent you the birth certificate. That's typically who we're actually going to wind up sending this stuff back to. I know initially in some of the other videos there, I was suggesting sending it to land titles and the registrar general. That was for a specific purpose. And that was saying this: hey, registrar, if you don't have the capacity or if you don't have the authority to deal with this matter, please create a report. And in that report, please outline everything that I've submitted to you, because now that report has to go to a judge. And now the judge is actually going to look at that material, make a report, he's going to endorse it, or he's going to approve it. And then he sends that back to the registrar general. So ideally, what I'm trying to say here is land titles the securities intermediaries? I don't think so. I actually think it's vital statistics. But where do we record our event? Okay, well, that happens at land titles or the personal property security registry.
It's funny that you say this, because when we were looking for the paper for the UCC, we had to some paper. So we were looking in the interior department for the paper. Okay. But actually lately איך קוראים לזה? רשות האוכלוסין בעברית, איך הם אומרים? It's not the statistic, but it's another office that they are together right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The register of the population. Okay, sure.
Yeah, that would be connected with land titles and vital statistics. Yeah, they're kind of all working together, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Because I'm not so sure. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, and really, at the end of the day, we're actually going to ask the judge to transfer this stuff to the securities intermediaries. That way, we don't really even have to be concerned, or we don't have to be worried about if we're sending it to the right place. We just say, hey, judge, I don't quite know where this has to go, but I know it can't be in my pocket. So I'm actually going to now burden you with the liability of transferring this properly, but I'm delivering it to you, putting it into your capable hands so that you can facilitate that transaction. So we're kind of actually, we're eliminating some of the unknowns or the, I'm not sure's. And I would rather not waste time. Again, Dean and I have wasted, I don't want to say waste. We've spent a lot of time sending a lot of stuff to a lot of different departments just to get the feedback to determine whether we're on the right track or not. So I'm feeling that we'll be able to eliminate a lot of that guesswork here by just going to the judge, just showing the judge what we have, what we've done, and why we've done it. Once we've established that, the judge will now come to our aid and our assistance, and they will fill in all the blanks. They will make sure that everything's done properly, because they're actually in it to protect us. They're not in it to, to harm us. We're leaving that 3D world, and fortunately, we'll present this to them in a package that is respectful, like we're saying, that is in keeping with, all the proper procedures. And it won't take me very long to be able to identify all that stuff once I can actually read it when it's not in Hebrew.
I bet you'll know Hebrew by the end.
Oh, yeah. We should, we'll probably just know Hebrew.
Just download it.
So yeah, that's ideally how we'd like to approach this, because I think we'll streamline this, we'll make it much more efficient and much more user friendly, and it won't place so much anxiety on you guys trying to move forward. So
then Limon, did you want to add something?
No, go on.
So I'm trying to understand how are we going to move forward, and are there certain acts that we should look for to see if they already are in English, so that we can share with you? Or
I'm going to suggest the most important act that we need to deal with is that Securities Transfer Act, or whichever act is dealing with these securities and how to move titles around and how to perfect titles. Perfecting the titles is part of the adverse claim. That's another part of the word game here, where we're going to have to try to definitely translate words for perfecting the interest. And I wouldn't be surprised if even if in Hebrew and in Israel there, it's actually the legislation will come back saying perfected. They're not going to have another word for perfected, I think, because that word is in scripture a lot, and that's a very universal word. And I don't think they're going to monkey with that one too much. It'll actually be, as soon as you guys are seeing things about perfected interests, home in on that one and highlight that one, or, we're going to build with that one. So yeah, again, that's another word that we're going to have to really home in on.
How did you say perfecting interest?
Yeah, perfecting the interests, correct.
Okay. So this is something, it's like an act that I have to look for?
That actually, they should talk about that in the Securities Transfer Act, like for Canada and Manitoba, where I was initially. In that Securities Transfer Act, I'm going to say 20% of it is talking about perfecting our interests and delivering those interests to that proper party. We were never really the proper party in interest. They only gave us this certificate so that we could complete it and then put it into the possession of another party. We were never meant to hang on to it. From everything I'm looking at, that's not how that was supposed to work. So
what is blowing my mind every time I'm doing my research, because I could take 1 week only for one paper like this, because every word I have to find the exact term in the legal term. Yes. But when you go inside, you could see how one word is sending you to another place, and sometimes the definition are not the same for the same word. So it's completely crazy.
Yeah.
So you can see you can see this, huh?
Yeah, and that's something that's a global problem. I don't want to really call it a problem, but it's that's us chasing. They've set this all up so that we had to spend a lot of work to actually unravel it or reverse engineer it, or extract all the really good meat and potatoes, because they put so many layers and so many, this word, like you're saying, go see this word, they can go see that phrase and go see that act or legislation. And yeah, it does turn out to be a wild goose chase, absolutely. But again, thankfully, because myself and a few others here, we've put so many hours and years into developing this, it's really easy for me now to actually just look at this stuff and go, yep, that one, nope, not that one, nope, not that one. And again, I'll be able to really compress this for you guys and give it to you in a package form that's much more user friendly, and we will eliminate a lot of the translation work that we're going to have to do here.
Okay, so what you're saying is we shouldn't translate the documents yet?
You know what? I'm thinking,
a minute.
If you guys want to, because that journey, you're going to make those little discoveries and you're going to find those definition. So I'm going to suggest continue doing what you're doing just to gain more knowledge and gain more wisdom. But while you're doing that, I will actually create another whole specialty forum package that's, again, much more condensed and more user-friendly just for you guys. And then from there, we'll see what the response is like. If we're able to achieve the same goal with half the amount of input or output, then I'm suggesting that we're definitely going to go in that route, because it is very overwhelming to people. When they look at these forums initially, they instantly think, oh my Lord, how am I ever going to understand this? How am I ever going to walk up in front of a judge and talk about this? And they instantly feel, they feel very defeated. They feel like they don't even, they're intimidated. So, I mean, that was okay for me because, I've been looking at this stuff for 20 years and it doesn't intimidate me, but that's for me. So that's not reasonable for me to expect everybody to feel like I do. As a matter of fact, I think that's ridiculous. So I will spend a fair bit of time here boiling this down for you guys and creating a much more user-friendly approach. So while I'm doing that, you guys still go ahead and gain as much knowledge and wisdom as you can. And like I said, it's probably going to take me a few days or so to get this rebuilt and retooled for your application, which again, like I'm mentioning, is actually going to ultimately benefit the world, because I don't want to deal with 40 pages anymore. I'd like to deal with 4. That'd be nice. So
what is the registration number, Judy Lynn Levi? There's the registration. Is the identity and a number?
Yes, it is.
Security number.
The identity number that we turn into the security number. So if one of you folks wouldn't mind sending me maybe just if you want to black out certain areas, for protection purposes, sure. But if one of you wouldn't mind just sending me one of the Israeli birth certificates, just so I even know what I'm looking at, and even if it's in Hebrew, I don't really need to understand it, but just so that I can see how many numbers are on this thing, so that I can actually make a better.
We just did it today online with the Australian. I was on the. I came right after work on the Zoom with the Australian.
Oh, perfect.
Me and Uri, and they just Google it quickly, and they saw how it looked like.
Oh, okay. Sure.
The one which is in English and Hebrew.
Oh, perfect. If you guys could maybe just send me a copy of that, or have you
send it to our Divergence email account. Kim will get that, and then
perfect.
We'll just reroute it, funnel it all there.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
To the Divergence 5 Gmail.
I have also a question. We started the UCC program, which it's a bit different. And the way it works, are you familiar with that, with the UCC program?
Yeah, a little bit. I have dabbled in it. There are 2 systems. I mean, every state or every province or every territory will have their own system for perfecting and delivering, but the UCC is global. So we actually have 2. We can use only the UCC, or we can use the legislation that your state or province provides. We actually have a choice. So it actually is a little bit beneficial for us, but I am a little bit familiar with it. Yes.
Okay. So what happens is when we filed the UCC1 form, the financing statement.
Yep.
So basically, we become the creditor, okay, and the debtor is also our name, but in all caps. It's only in English, of course.
Yep.
At the moment, we don't know if in Hebrew it's the same way, like all caps, and but we didn't fill it up in Hebrew, only in English. And
sure. Yeah, that's okay. If that's how we elect to do it, then that's okay. As long as we're getting that perfected paragraph set up or established, and then just getting rid of that thing, putting it into the possession of the judge, really, and then we're just really going to come in for a quick hearing and say, hey judge, there's a confusion of titles. I believe I have priority. I've done some perfecting over here, Your Honor, and I've transferred this thing into your possession. So, Your Honor, we're here today to basically balance the equities, and balancing the equities is basically just saying that you, as the plaintiff, have a better title than the crown or than the government, if you want to call them the state. And once you have that better title, that puts you into positions to do all kinds of fancy stuff, which is, coming down the pipe. But I agree with you. The UCC is effective. as well as the legislations used in the particular territories or provinces. Literally just pick one. And ideally, if we have teammates that are good or understand both of those systems, I think that's very advantageous, because as we're experiencing, and as we knew this was going to happen, once people are coming forward and they want this information, they're desperate for this knowledge, they're desperate for the wisdom,
right,
because they're in a terrible situation and they want relief right now. They don't want to wait a week, they don't want to wait a month, they don't even want to wait a day. They want this stuff now. So when our teammates are more versed with UCC and the particular legislation from your area, I think if one or two of us in each group gets a little bit better at that, I think that's going to be, again, advantageous from a teaching perspective and showing others, how all this works. So go ahead.
Uriel's saying his birth certificate is from,
yeah.
I don't even know how to say that word.
Uzbekistan?
Uzbekistan, yeah.
Uzbekistan.
wow.
Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
It's in former USSR, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can copy it and send it to you. It's
sure.
It has both ways. It's like A4 on both ways.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
And you see my name is in all caps.
Okay, terrific. Yeah, excellent.
And all the document is in small letters.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
My name is in all caps.
Yeah, perfect. And you're right, Uriel, that's typically how they all are. So in terms of which one is the registration number, if you can find anything that kind of looks like a registration or the date is important, but not so much. The serial number is important, but not so much. But really, it's that registration number. That's your particular number that connects all these instruments in the background. So if your birth certificate only has one number on it, that's what we're going to use. If it has two, we just need to find out which those two are. Yeah.
Yeah, it has more numbers. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can work with all that. That's okay. I would actually rather have more numbers, believe it or not. Then it's just more opportunities for us to be doing other stuff. But again, we don't want to get too bogged down, or we don't want to get too burdened with doing trustee work. We just got to perfect this thing and then get rid of it. Hey, Judge, look what I did. That's essentially all we need to do. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. It doesn't need to be 40 pages long, although I'm kind of notoriously bad for
lots of words.
Yeah, lots of words. So yeah, we'll get cracking on this here right away for you guys. And again,
Darren, I have another question regarding what we spoke about before.
Yep.
Can you just
basically
just repeat it though, what you're talking about, just so everyone else can kind of catch up?
Regarding the UCC filing. So basically, as I said, it's like when you file it, you basically take you become the creditor. On the other hand, your name in all caps is still the debtor.
That's right.
As I understand, in your system, you basically make the court as the debtor. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah. As long as you're not the debtor, the judge could literally even be the debtor for a moment, but he's not going to want to hang on to that. He's going to also move that to the proper party, because the judge, he's just a referee. He's actually not the proper party to name as a trustee. Right. Although he kind of acts like a trustee for the time being. I don't want to be, classifying them as such. But you're right. As soon as the UCC forms, as soon as you get that printed, and as soon as it's showing a new debtor, and as soon as it's showing who the creditor are, those are the fundamental criteria that the judge needs to see. The judge wouldn't be able to help us at all, do anything, really, unless you came with some very specific questions and you're actually putting the burden on the court to say, hey, I require the court to do this, this, and this, and this. But you know what? I'm of the opinion, like, I would rather roll into court showing the court and the judge that we have done some stuff. And if coincidentally, if it turns out that we've done it wrong or we've done it incorrectly, the judge is in a position to reform our paperwork or literally rip it up and create new stuff for us. So they're the ones that, again, I make it sound like I know a lot about this stuff, but trust me, the judges still know more than I do. I would rather put it into their possession, and then that way there's no mistakes, there's no errors, there's no wasted time. And ultimately that's the way we're going to push this. So, and again, if we all get to come as a group, if 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 of us all go in at the same time, because literally we can do that. It's just us sharing the same motion, but you're just different plaintiffs. The system actually allows us to do this. So we don't need to be afraid, or we don't need to feel isolated or alone or nervous. No. When you come in strength in numbers, there's something about that. And I would love to help, put everybody in a position where they're able to go to court as a group versus individually. So yeah. And again, we can help with the UCC process. Again, I've looked at it several times over the last handful of years, but I haven't put a lot of depth into it, because as soon as I looked at it, it was like, okay, of course this will work. But like I was mentioning, I was just kind of homing in or using the particular legislations from the province or the state or the territory that I was in. But again, yeah, UCC will get it done as well. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Basically it's pretty simple, the UCC itself.
It is. Yeah, it actually is. Once we understand how these parts move around, and once we get our heads wrapped around that, filling in the paperwork, like you said, it's actually pretty easy. It might only take an hour. It's not a large commitment, but if you don't have the knowledge and we didn't know how to fill that stuff out correctly, then it's of no use to us. So
right. There is the security agreement, just as you have this one, but you make also there is the relation between the creditor and the debtor, and just you make the strawman as the all caps.
Yep, you betcha. And that's essentially what the security agreement's doing, is it's actually laying the terms and conditions for a whole new relationship. That whole new relationship, it's the rules of the game. So now that the game has changed, here's how we're going to play it now. I'm going to do this and you're going to do that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it puts the trustees in a position where, hey, the beneficiary knows, or the settler knows what's going on, and we're not going to be able to wiggle out from this one. We better start acting honorably, and we better start, maintaining property for an individual, even though it's not the trustees' property or their interest. They're actually bound by legislation to be honorable, act in good faith, act in good conscience and good reason. And I know I have mentioned this a few times in the past, although the courts seem like they're very corrupt and they're very, dark. But again, that was because we are the ones who kind of made the mistake. We're the ones who kind of perpetrated a bit of a fraud. So for that system to basically beat us up for the rest of our lives, I understand why. And I understand how when we actually did consent to being beat up, we can't put up our hand later and say, hey, wait a minute, I don't like being beat up. I don't want to do this. Yeah, but the paperwork shows that you volunteered to do it. So again, perfecting the interest and using the UCC, that's what we're doing, is we're taking that volunteer position away. We're saying, hey, the game has changed. I'm no longer volunteering. And as soon as you're not volunteering, now the law has to treat you with respect and dignity. And the judges are waiting to do that for us, but we have to come with clean hands. The clean hands is very important. That's universal law or omniversal law. That can't be, that can't be repealed. That can't be abolished. That can't be taken away. That is just fundamental. And that's what we're trying to activate here, really, is doing it like that. So.
I used to watch your brother's videos long time ago.
Oh, perfect.
I said, this guy has guts, it's like...
We're working on getting him an interview here real quick. So
yeah, we're gonna bring Brother Dean back here, and we're gonna do some fun stuff for everybody, and just do what Dean and I do. So.
I want them to go at it. He's having a baby here in a couple weeks, so that's why we're just
nice. Very good.
His time. So, but we got a question here from Uriel. So thank you for raising your hand. Absolutely, go for it. You have to unmute, hun. There you go.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
When we'll get your documents in 2-3 days, and we will serve them to the judge. I have an hearing in 2 weeks or something. 2 weeks
Perfect.
Or 3 weeks.
Okay.
I just delayed it. It was today, but I delayed it to it was today.
Sure. Okay.
And I delayed it for 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know the exact date.
Yep.
And when we send it to the court, how do we act when we get into court? me with my things. No. But I have things. I have to ask questions, or just you got the documents.
Yeah, as a matter of fact,
do your job now.
Yeah, the paperwork does a lot of the speaking for us, and I will actually provide you with a question or 2 or 3, which are very important questions before the judge, so that the judge is actually compelled, or he's actually forced to come in and help you. And the way I word these questions is very specific. It's very accurate. Yeah, and they're short. Again, they're not going to be like these really long paragraphs of questions. No. And here's one of them: Your Honor, do you disclaim the trust? That's a loaded question. As soon as the judge says, no, I don't disclaim the trust, you're home free. As soon as he says, yes, I disclaim the trust, you're home free. Why? Even though the trust may have not been accurate enough, he still recognized the trust. As soon as he admits there's a trust, there's a trust. If he says, no, I don't see, there's no trust here, Uriel. I can't even disclaim it because I'm not seeing a trust. So he's not going to say that, though. Why? Because as soon as you perfect that birth certificate and as soon as you put it into his possession, that is a trust. And there's no way that the judge is going to say, oh, I don't see a trust. No. Impossible. So the questions are, okay, so now, Your Honor, now that you see the trust, is the court, or are you able to aid and assist? Why? Because I know no trust can fail for want of trustee. Boom. He now has to come to your aid and assistance. You just have to throw a maxim or 2 of equity at him, and that forces him to act in the inherent jurisdiction, which is equity. That's not the public at-law system. It's converting. It's by giving him enough information saying he's going to award you, or he's going to grant mercy and grace unto you. Why? Because you're no longer possessed by Satan. Really? I know that sounds extreme, but essentially that's what's actually happening in the background. So very powerful, very short, very concise, very accurate, and you'll be surprised at what the judge actually comes back with.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yep.
I do have a question here for the people that are the translators in the house here. What we want to do when we put up our forms for all of our divergence, especially in BC we're launching, we're doing Ontario, Australia, and I believe Manitoba as well, is we're going to have videos attached. So we really want people to be able to have to listen to Darren or to listen to somebody who can translate the information, so that people aren't just opening these documents, putting in their information and sending off their birth certificate without really understanding what it is that they're doing. Yeah. So this is where we want to build the learning system in. So is there anybody that you guys can think of that would be willing to basically translate what we are trying to say, so that as people are, going on to the Israel forms, that they're listening to this video before they're able to do this?
Well, I have time, and maybe Anat will do it.
Sure. I want to make sure I understand your question. You mean someone who will speak in Hebrew?
Yeah.
And explain
what Darren is saying in English, to translate and speak and talk about it in Hebrew?
Yeah.
All the videos we're doing in English for our forms, we would like to have converted, if you guys, for whatever forms that you guys are filling out as well. Sure. We're being very sensitive to people not being able to change our forms, because again, Darren's, translated them, he's perfected them. So we don't want people being able to go and alter them. So we're going to have these fillable fields, which of course Kim will do once they come back. But once we put them onto our actual website, we're going to be building this learning system where they have to listen to something or someone, so that, okay, why are you filling out this field? What does this mean? What is this document? Why do we even have to submit it? Yeah. Right? So they're going to have a very good understanding of what they've completed by the time they get to the end of the form. Sure. So we want to be able to have the ability to upload those videos for every language for the forms that we're doing.
And I'll talk a little slower, and like I said, I'll compress the knowledge so that it's easier for someone who's translating it. We'll be conscious of that. So we're actually going to try to streamline our process, make it more efficient as we go. I don't want to burden us with extra. We've already been burdened enough. I'm all about now making this easier for everybody. So,
and we're in the video stage of this now. So Kim and myself and Darren are going to be compiling all the video content, and it'll have lines underneath it so that people can go and watch the videos, or they can, I mean, Darren has explained the same question several times. So we want to be able to have it up there as many times as he explained it, so people can just listen to it over and over in different ways for it to be able to kind of sink in. We don't ask that of you guys. We would just like at least one translation, so that before we put these forms out, people are understanding what they're doing.
Yeah.
I can speak in the Hebrew version, no problem.
That would be lovely. And you have a beautiful voice, so that's great.
Thanks. My problem is
so that's excellent. You have all the things.
Thanks.
Okay, wonderful. So Kim, let's put down Anat then for that, so that we know that we will be reaching out to her when we get to that phase. Like I said, we're doing the video part right now. I'll let you guys in on something. We're going to be launching this here in a day or so anyways, but we're going to be going on a 4-day blackout. So from Wednesday until Saturday, Divergence is not going to be responding or posting nothing. We are literally compiling our team together, and we're hitting these forms, hitting these videos, so that basically we can launch this on Monday. So we're dropping forms for 5 locations, stage 1, all 3 forms, all fillable, all videos. So it's going to be a huge launch, but we need to just unplug. We need to get away from all the questions, all of the poundings, the emergencies, the urgents, all this kind of stuff, right? Everyone is urgent. So, you know, we finally realized we can serve everybody in the mass the best if we just remove ourselves temporarily, do our thing, heads down, let's pound, and then we can come back in full vengeance on the following Monday. So we'll be ready after that, pretty much. Then Darren, that's when Darren's going to be able to start doing more with your group, which will be the following week. And then once this goes, it's now just about converting languages, converting forms. It's real simple, but we just need to create the space for ourselves. Okay, so you guys have privy information to what we're doing, and a heads up on, you know, how serious we're taking this, and the teams we're trying to establish. And, you know, thank you guys for all showing up. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yep.
It must be overwhelming for you. You must have thousands of.
We're doing all right.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
We have a lot of people that have stepped up. Again, we've had some amazing people, business owners, people that are funding us for the technology that we need, because they just realize, they're like, you guys are going to be swamped here. We need to get a system in place. And we're like, I know we do. You know, because again, we just kind of threw this video out here going, hey, look what we did. And it just kind of exploded, right? So again, we need loved ones to step up, and we have private groups for Divergence just for our team leads. So I will add you that to that one, Anat. So Kim, if you can put that down, we'll we just want to pull one though, please understand, and then you can communicate that all down to your people. Okay, so
I just want to say that I have good English, but it's the, you know, the bullshit television English. When I read the legal phrases, and it's sometimes hard because it's not words that I'm used to read.
Yeah.
But it's a process.
I sympathize with that. We had a hard time when it was English going to English. We had a hard time. So going to another language, clearly that's another whole world, really. But no, again, we have, you know, loved ones that are very committed. They're very determined. No one's going to quit doing this. We're all here to help each other. This is the greater gospel, really, that I'm looking at. This is the power through Christ coming forward, and the healing components of what we're trying to do. So anybody that's, you know, following this, or that's interested in this, or is passionate about this and loves this, we feel their energy, and that actually helps us get out of bed every day. There's, you know, we're getting better and stronger every day. We're not getting weaker and more vulnerable. Nope, it's the opposite. So it's a beautiful thing.
And again, we'll simplify this. We're not going to be giving you anything that you can't translate, because if you can't translate or explain that, what makes us think anybody else is going to, right? So again, we're about simplifying this. We're getting a lot of people saying, okay, I'm resonating with this. I'm like buzzing, listen to your stuff, but I don't understand it yet, right? So yeah, that's coming with the translation. So Anat, if you can please put your email into the chat, and then Kim, we can send her those 3 forms that we talked about then. So at least she has them. And then we'll just start getting this ball rolling.
I have a question about the act against the crown. I did a research. I looked for it. You cannot find it here.
Okay.
But while meditating, I got this idea that actually we don't need Israel to be signed for it, even if we find it it's not important, because anyway, the judges are on the side of the crown. They had been submitted themselves, or they have been signed with the crown or whatever. So they are liable for every act that the crown has took out.
Yes.
I think even more than, even further than that is the whole country, because it's a corporate register in the bourse in New York. They are liable for all the Congress or whatever legislation in United States.
That's right.
This is what I think,
Yep.
but I'm not sure.
No, yeah, you're absolutely correct. It all goes back to the crown, and ultimately it all goes back to the Vatican after that. So
Okay.
there is a chain of events here that's happening, and you know what? That's fun for a history lesson, and it's nice to have your head wrapped around where all this stuff came from and where it's going, and but at the end of the day, does someone need to know all that to perfect their security interest? No. I mean, it's fun research, but what you're suggesting here is, yes, they are all liable, and the judges know this, and the judges are all the same throughout the world. It's all the same operating system, so that's actually very advantageous for us now. So
yes, but we use it in the paper because I could see that you are using a special clause 50, 51, 53. So this is all from the act against the crown, actually,
right.
no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Essentially it is, yes. And we will be able to find the particular legislations that we need to do this. Again, I'm not sure what the Israeli version of the Securities Transfer Act is actually called, but it's going to deal with securities, and it's going to deal with perfecting, and it's going to deal with delivering, and it's going to deal with jurisdictions, and it's going to deal with collateral, and it's going to deal with all kinds of stuff. And once we find that one, we're safe. We actually don't even need anything else. We can pull all this off with that one simple piece of legislation.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll start with that one. If we can find the equivalent to the Securities Transfer Act, that's where we got to go first.
Which one you said?
We will find it in
which act you said? I'm sorry.
Securities Transfers Act.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, they might call it something slightly different, but it's gonna have to do with securities, and
yes, I came across it already, I think.
Oh, perfect.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, no, yes, it's very easy to find. It's just that sometimes you have to look for the right definition because they hide it behind the.
Yeah, and that's where I'm suggesting, if I could have the English version of the Israeli Securities Transfer Act, I can whip right through it, find exactly what we need, and just give it back to you guys, and then we all know what we're doing. But again, I need to be able to see the Hebrew version in English so that I know what I'm looking for.
So can one of you guys for us to see if you can get your hands on that?
We'll find it. We'll translate it and get you the.
Excellent. Yeah.
In Hebrew, we hardly understand the legal English, the legalese.
Yeah.
And now we try to understand the legal Hebrew, and it makes it even harder for some reason. But
I know.
Oh, I can imagine.
I know. It's
another language.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah, I know. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So very good.
Sure.
Can I ask some more questions?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, go ahead.
So about we'll try to see if there's already an English version. We'll try to see about that.
Okay.
What I wanted to ask some technical questions. I noticed that I went over the documents. I didn't have the chance to read every word of all of them. I stopped in the security agreement. It has 5 pages, right? And I only found the first one in the picture.
Okay.
And we're sending that.
Yeah. I'll send a better version of that security agreement. I'll compress it. I'll make it a lot shorter, like by 50%. And then I'll give you that version that now we can go and we can start working with that. Yeah, because I know that the security agreement, does it have to be 3 or 4 or 5 pages long? No, I could probably do it in a page, no problem. Yeah, but again, I was just being extra thorough because I didn't want to miss anything. That was just me being paranoid. So
Kim, I think it's good to be paranoid in this case.
Darren, what about affidavit of truth? Is it necessary to because I heard there's a lot of group are using affidavit of truth, which is like very, very long, telling all the story. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I don't think we need the background story at all. The fact is that the government knows you're in possession of that birth certificate. The government knows it's imperfect, which means it's not complete. And the government is literally waiting for you to complete that thing and then just give it back to them. So do we need a very long affidavit? No. As a matter of fact, our special affidavit here that we're working with, it's only 1 page long. And I literally could probably even chop that down by 25%. So yeah, we actually don't need a whole bunch of background story. No, we just need to, hey, Your Honor, I came to realize one day that I'm not supposed to be in possession of this. And then I went and I figured out how to perfect it. And here, Your Honor, I'm putting it into your possession to balance the equities. That's literally all the affidavit needs to say. It literally could be 4 sentences.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still have a few more questions. Maybe I should ask
That's
in a row.
Sure.
Okay. I should have the question. First of all, the birth certificate copy that I ordered, there's no signature there. It's just like a stamp, but no signature. I hope it's okay. It's like a A4 page.
Okay.
And in the back, it's blank. So,
yeah, that's okay. Yeah, if that stamp or that seal is just as good as a signature.
It's printed. It's not like you say this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
So it's okay.
Yep.
And
you betcha.
I looked at it's Jody's version of the first page.
Yep.
And I didn't completely understand all the words there in red, but I guess when we find the right legislation, then we'll write ours. And I did want to ask, on the side there's a number. Life estate in equity in confidence.
Yeah.
What's that?
That number, that special number there, that's just us sending registered mail to the receiving party. So that registered mail number, that's actually that number you're looking at. Whether you send it like express post or priority post, I know all the legislation in Canada here, it's asking that we send it registered mail. So yeah, that registered mail is just that little sticker that has that number on it. That's where that number came from.
Okay, great.
Yep.
And also, the next question, sorry.
In the surrender to redemption, I think there's many, I look at them, not this one. Wait 1 second. Okay. Province Manitoba birth certificate, Clifford Darren. So register number, actually, it's the date of birth, actually.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Here's kind of a weird way to look at this. That birth certificate actually represents 2 births: the day you were born, and then the day that corporation was registered. That's also an event. So that registration date is actually the birth date of the person. It's not your birth date, right? So you were born on the day you were born, but then when was that certificate registered? It'll have a date. That's the person's birthday. So there's actually 2 birthdays on these birth certificates. Do we have to get all worried about that? No. The judge knows what's going on. We just need to say, hey, I don't care whose birthday is on this. I don't care what registration number's on this. The fact is, I'm in possession of this thing and I'm being compelled to transfer that interest. That's ultimately, and that's the court motion. The court application is saying, hey, Your Honor, I wish to transfer an interest. Transfer it to who? Well, that successor in interest. That's where it's going. And why are we doing this? We're doing this to settle our estates, because our estates are imperfect. Again, they're not complete. my estate is not serving me while I'm alive. And it's serving me while I'm dead is actually still not really serving me at all. So the trust is a fancy word for a will for the living man or woman. That's essentially what a trust is. It's here to serve you today while you're living, not while you're dead. That's of no use to you. So, and again, the judge is going to look at our presentation. We're going to make it shorter. We're going to make it much more accurate. And you guys will be shocked at how effective this actually be. And Uriel's going to have a perfect opportunity because he's going to be the one that guinea pigs the new paperwork for his court case. So you guys are going to see some fruit from this right away because Uriel will actually be able to send that paperwork in by the end of this coming week. And then that gives the judge 2 weeks to look at it. And you'll be surprised at what happens right after that or during that 2 week period.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if the judge, because this has happened, the judge has actually called literally on the phone people that are doing what we're doing. We've had judges calls right from chambers. So again, chambers is not the public courtroom. No. Judge's chambers is his private office. So when the judge goes to his private office and he's calling Uriel saying, hey, my friend, I've got your paperwork sitting in front of me. What do you want me to do with all this? And then that's where you're going to ask the questions. Well, Your Honor, do you disclaim the trust? No, I know, Uriel, your trust expression is incredible. What would you like me to do with it though? Well, Your Honor, I would like you to transfer or transmit that security interest to the successor in interest. And he might say, well, who's that, Uriel? And your answer would be, well, I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's the custodian of enemy property. And the judge is going to go, oh, well, you know that. And then you're going to say, well, and as a matter of fact, I think that's the Minister of Finance. But if I'm wrong, Your Honor, you're going to correct me, aren't you? And he will. So this is a friendly relationship. Again, he's not there with a stick hitting you. No, he's actually embracing you because Uriel, you're stepping forward, and the rest of us here, we're actually doing, again, I've mentioned this before, the most honorable thing a man or woman can do. And in the eyes of Creator, we are going to be rewarded for our efforts. So this isn't war. This isn't, oh, I'm terrified to go to court and talk to a judge about this. No. He actually is your best friend, and he's there to help you. So I know I just, I play that as, hey, don't be nervous. Of course you're going to be nervous, even when you're going in as a group. We did it, Jody and Kim and Tamara, and we rolled in to the court there, but it was a very friendly experience. There was no animosity. There was no real need. There's no rejection. There's no none of that. A completely different set of variables that we're dealing with now. So overcoming the fear is probably the biggest thing we ever have to do.
That's the second interrogation I had when I was caught. It was really friendly because I know how to talk to the police now. Yeah. I didn't give them our fingerprints. I didn't make a contract with him. Nice. I knew how to talk to him. Nice. And in the end, I told him, I really love you because I know that I made a path. I know how to talk to policemen, but the thing is, I don't know how to talk to judges. And now you're going to teach me how to talk to the judges.
Yeah. And you're on a very good. Yeah, you're so far so good, Uriel. The fact that you can talk to a police officer with confidence and with assertiveness. That tells me that you'll be able to do it to a judge. Why? Because you're already doing it. Okay. We got to tweak a little bit, give you a little bit extra confidence and a little bit extra. Woohoo! Let's go. It's a happy type sensation, and that's what's going to help push us all through this. Because again, the most honorable thing we can do, coming back from serving sin, Creator's looking at that and saying, you know what? That's a baptism right there. It's very, very, very important. Very important.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely. It's been a while that I sense that they are just waiting for us to come and to deliver ourselves.
Yes.
This is the message I try to pass, but at the same time, the people are so afraid that they think that it's true that every little word in the translation have to be like sharp, like a knife. It have to touch the point.
Yeah.
Touch the point.
Yeah.
But still, they are waiting for us to do it.
Sure. I'm convinced that when this process is finished, I'm convinced that a 12-year-old would be able to do this. And here's why. The Lord's Prayer says, Lord, deliver me from evil. Deliver me from evil means deliver that security certificate to somebody else. Get rid of the evil. The evil, now keep in mind, the certificate itself wasn't evil, but what we did with it was deemed to be evil. So, Your Honor, I'm coming to you today to correct a mistake. I committed fraud when I was 16 and I didn't know. So I'm actually here requesting forgiveness.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Forgiveness, grace, mercy. These are all equitable doctrines that cannot be used in the legal world. The legal world doesn't care. No, but Creator does through the judges. Yeah, somebody cares. And again, they just want to see us coming forward, delivering that evil from ourselves. And that's what the judge is actually there to do. So yeah, very, very important.
And later, if you no longer have your surname, you gave it back. How do you identify if a police officer stops me?
Yeah, again, my favorite response for that one would be Anat -protected purchaser. You're going to put a title there instead of your surname. Whether it's security entitlement holder, it can be the settlor, it can be the beneficiary, although we don't like to bring the beneficiary into the public just yet. Subrogee, legatee, devisee, heir to the decedent's escheated legal estate. That's another big one. So yeah, you're going to replace your surname with just another title. I chose. Yeah, sorry.
What would you show them if you don't identify yourself here? You find yourself.
This is where the output that you guys can get from the property registry, because I'm thinking Israel still has a property registry department. So once you get the output back from them, like our other friend here is suggesting, once you do the UCC filing, you get that UCC filing back, or you get the printout of it. That's what you show to the police. You don't show them your birth certificate anymore. You show them this computer printout that says, hey, I'm no longer the debtor and I've appointed or I've assigned that security interest. Another word for security interest is just legal title. I'm now moving the legal title to a new party so that they can manage the legal title. I don't want to be burdened with that because that's sin. I don't want to act as a person. I don't want to, offend Creator. So nope, you deal with that. That's your job. And I'm just going to go over here and enjoy what I've done.
And that's the mode I'm in right now. I have no identification. So until we get our court date, I have nothing that I can present. So all I did is I just took a picture of my PPSA security agreement. I made sure my control number was on there, and I just keep that. Yeah. So if I did get pulled over, I did have to present myself. I'll go look up this number.
Yep. And that's ultimately. Yeah, that's ultimately what we're trying to do here. Is just, that new piece of paper replaces the ID that you used to have. Now, once we go to court, once the judge sees all this stuff, will they issue you a new certificate? Absolutely, because you got rid of the one you had. Now you have nothing. Well, now they're going to give you something called a certificate of indefeasible title, which means no party in the world can now attach liability to you. It's indefeasible. It's indestructible.
It's interesting that you're saying this because I came back to Israel around May, and since that time for a few months I didn't work, and now they're asking me, the insurance company here, they're asking me. It's not a big sum, but I don't really want to pay.
Yeah.
And the other day with Maoz, we decided what kind of words we're going to tell them. But the next time, if they're going to write to me something, I'm just going to put down this number of the security agreement.
Yes.
Not security agreement, the filing of the UCC.
Sure.
To tell them to look for it,
Yes, absolutely. Because the insurance company knows what subrogation means. Subrogation is very important. That's switching positions, like I've talked about a few times. Subrogation is actually a word that the insurance companies use all the time. They really know what that actually means. So when you tell the insurance company, no, I'm the subrogee. Subrogee means that I've switched spots. I'm no longer in the debtor position. And here, let me provide you with notice of that arrangement. And then the insurance company is going to look at that and go, oh, Okay. And now the next letter they send you back is going to be completely different. Just watch. Yep. Because you no longer need insurance. Why? Because you've capitalized on the birth certificate bond. You've turned it into a bond or a security. And because you've assigned it to somebody else, that's where the value happens. You've actually taken something that had, let's just say, no value before, and now you've given it an incredible amount of value. If you have access to an incredible amount of value, you don't need insurance. You only had to have insurance because you didn't capitalize on the bond ourselves. So by us doing what we're doing, we're telling the banking world, hey, I can manage my own affairs. Now you guys are the trustees. You're going to administrate everything properly, and I'm going to enjoy the benefit, not the state. The state enjoyed the benefit because we abandoned that interest. If there's nobody there to enjoy it, the state just rolls in and scoops it up and says, okay, well then we'll enjoy it until you want to come back. That's essentially what's happening. Yep.
We didn't use it until now because we didn't know what you're saying. So actually, if I have a problem in my apartment in France, because I lived in France before and I came here only for a visit, but I still have to go back. My children are over there. Okay. So the question is, if I have any problem, I just show them this UCC filing number, yes, and they will understand what to do with it. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, have extra copies. Give them a copy. Don't even, don't even show it to them. Just say, here, this is for you. This is for your records. Why? Because notice to agent is notice to principal. Once you give one police officer that particular piece of paper, that means all the police officers in the world also have access to it. So that's a beautiful maxim of law and equity that allows us to say, hey, I'm not concerned with giving notice to 100,000 departments all around the world. No, I'm just going to do it with one. And that effectively helps to change the record in the background. So the officer, he's going to know what this is. They're not going to admit it, but of course they know what this is. Yes, I've proved this already. I've firsthand. I know that they do because I've had several conversations with police officers from varying jurisdictions, and they all said, oh yeah, we either can't deal with that, which means they don't have jurisdiction to touch you, which coming right from the police officer himself was very satisfying. He literally said, we would not have the jurisdiction to deal with any of that, which means I can drive away and you can't arrest me for anything, is essentially what he just told me. But kind of indirectly, that's what they're saying. They're not going to come out directly and say that. But again, this is where equity, it teaches us to kind of read between the lines. It's not always what the lines are saying. It's sometimes there's what are the lines not saying. And then that's where the room for interpretation comes in. Well, if you denied me this and this, but I'm still able to do this one, well, then that's where we're going to focus our energy. And we just kind of keep moving with this thing. So it's a tough go initially until you get the hang of it. I know. And that's why we're going to do our best to help people get their heads wrapped around these processes and fundamentally what's going on and why we need to move that legal title, why we need to pursue the protected purchaser program. Break it all down. And again, as Jody was mentioning, when we do these little video clips, and by little video clips, I'm just talking like 1 or 2 minutes. That's all they need to be explaining, okay, in the form, this is why you're putting this here, and this is why it's important. And over here, this is why it's important. And over there, that's why this is what that means. And again, I'll provide a lot of stock explanation to what these forums are actually trying to tell people. Because I know how overwhelming they are. Again, unless you are a lawyer, most people aren't going to have a clue what this stuff is even talking about. So.
What is this?
Sorry, Anat.
I wanted to ask, have you completely finished the process on yourself?
Yep. Yeah, I have sent in my stuff, but because the province where I was born, it's about 20 hours away. I don't want to go back to that province and deal with it. So I'm actually going to structure this stuff so that I can deal with it in court here where I am. And I'm still in the process of doing that. So I've sent off my stuff. It's been gone for several months, like going on 5 months now. And I haven't heard a peep back, which is good because silence means the equitable doctrines are working. When the state has a problem with what you're doing, they will give you a letter and they will tell you, or they'll send you an email, or they'll let you know, hey, this
Reject.
is rejected, or this is garbage, or you might want to get some legal advice. I haven't gotten any of that stuff, which tells me we are definitely on the right track. The system, or the Levites, they're just waiting for us to put this package together in a manner that the judges can help us. So that's where we are right now. We're taking our substance, we're putting it into a structure where the judges can now come and help us. And again, Israel and your situation, we're going to develop this process in conjunction with what we're doing here in Canada. And again, Uriel can experiment with it and get that stuff sent to the judge here right away. And you're going to find out right away, he'll actually probably, or he or she would actually probably respond to you even before the court case.
And we'd love to hear back from you, Uriel. Please
Yeah,
send us
Can
an
I-
update.
can I
If
ask-
you do it and put it up and post it. We would love that.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah.
Can I ask a small question?
Sure.
I talk to people. There are some people without that were born not in Israel, and they now they are in Israel. They don't have their original birth certificate. How can we help them?
Okay, if they don't have their original certificate, we should probably try to do anything we can initially to get them a birth certificate. It should just be a matter of ordering one. I mean, and in Canada, they're about $30 or $40, and it's just applying for a new one. And here's the beautiful part about it.
That's again from Uzbekistan. It's not so the country is not so. It's like a third world country.
Okay, well then
it's
yeah,
a bit of a problem.
Yeah, okay, so really we could create an affidavit that's saying, hey, Your Honor, I was born on this day. These are my parents. And although I don't have a birth certificate, I'm still entitled to my dominion over the earth. And Your Honor, I'm going to require your assistance to help me put all this stuff through. And then the judge and all his clerks and all his administrators and assistants, they will actually go now back into the background and help to develop all this stuff, because these people that have know that or don't have the birth certificate properly, like you're suggesting, those people are probably still paying income tax, or they're still paying taxes. If they're paying taxes, there's a record of a birth event somewhere that enabled them to volunteer to pay taxes. So we just got to do a little bit of checking, a little bit of background information.
The fact that the person's alive is proof that they exist.
So just filling out an affidavit, literally just telling
the fact he's paying taxes. Actually paying taxes. That's why he is alive.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Yeah. How ironic is that? The fact that you're paying taxes means you're alive. Yeah.
Crazy.
It is kind of crazy, but yeah, we'll be able to help with all that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I have a question.
I just want to finish the questions that I have, if it's okay.
Sure.
I have a list. I wanted to ask about the plea of abatement. I noticed that there's no document of plea of abatement. If I understand correctly, for Uriel, for example, if he's going to court for something he's being blamed about, he's being blamed for something. He's going to court for a reason. It's not for this process. And from what I understand, he has to come with a plea of abatement.
Yeah. The plea of abatement will stop any public court case in its tracks, but that's not where it ends. Now we actually have to remove that court case, bring it up to a higher jurisdiction that can hear your equitable defenses. Chances are that court that you were in a moment ago isn't equipped to hear your equities. So we're going to say, hey, if this court can't hear my game, then I'm going to switch courts. That's all we're doing. And the abatement actually effectually does that. So we have a couple of options here. With the abatement, we can either bring a cross claim, but we don't really want to bring a cross claim as a defendant. We actually want to start a whole new court case as the plaintiff. And now that plaintiff brings the jurisdiction with them. So now as the defendant, you're not trapped with legal public law. You're actually bringing your case, and you're actually in a position now where you can say, hey, Your Honor, I'm bringing the 20 maxims of equity to govern my case. And trust me, those 20 maxims of equity, they cover everything. It is so efficient. It's mind-boggling. It's night and day, the difference. So yeah, so Uriel, we're gonna create a plea of abatement for Uriel. We're gonna submit that, and at the same time, Uriel's gonna bring his own claim as the plaintiff. Now that's a type of a cross claim. It's like you're using one claim to get rid of another claim. The defendant can do this, but we're going to throw the abatement at it instead. Now, the abatement, this is what it does. The abatement shuts it down. Once it's shut down, you don't really want to be opening it back up to say, hey, this, and this. Nope. Once it's shut down, leave it shut down. And then we're going to go start a whole other court case to deal with it.
So when he goes to court, Uriel is actually not even talking about the thing that he's the defendant of.
Oh, no.
Right? He's not even talking about it.
Oh, no, that's gone. He's now talking about, Your Honor, I need to convey, or I need to deliver, or I need to transmit this security interest to a new debtor. That's all he really needs to say. And the judge is going to say, like, well, Uriel, yeah, what are you talking about? Well, Your Honor, look, I've perfected my interest. Yeah, I've perfected my interest in this.
Oh.
I've attached consideration, and now I wish, or I desire the court to put the appropriate party into possession of this security. Now, that's typically in the old system, that used to be called a writ of possession. A writ is simply meaning a very important written document that's endorsed or approved by the court. That's technically all the word writ really means. But a writ of execution, a writ of possession, a writ of delivery, writs are very important for equity. That's essentially what's happening in the background. So yeah, Uriel's court is going to be actually so simple. It's going to be shocking.
Look at him smiling already.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't need to be 40 pages long. No, I'm thinking less than one.
Listen, I manifested this arrest. Just know it. I manifested this arrest because I wanted something to put me in the corner that I have to do it.
Yes.
And I really, this is the second time I get arrested. The first time I got arrested, I was arrested with Anat for not a judge, a policeman asking why are we without masks?
Yeah.
We didn't want to identify ourselves.
We didn't want to identify. We got arrested for 3 hours. I was for 5.5 hours.
Wow.
But we didn't identify ourselves until the end.
Sure.
The end.
Yeah.
And that's it. We're just trying our power.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, once you have that certificate, and once you have that writing on it, and once there's a silver coin attached to it,
then go get arrested.
Yeah.
Or try.
Yeah, then go get arrested. And you'll see again.
You're a guinea pig. Come on, Uriel.
The Jews are good with being guinea pigs. You see also now. You see also now in Israel.
That's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
Terrible, but it's true.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, friends, we have I have another colleague or two here in Canada that actually took to that birth certificate, just like I was mentioning. They were able to cross into the United States. He came back without any, what do you want to call it? The disease that's out there and the mask wearing.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't have to.
Going to Sinai.
Yeah, he didn't have.
Going to Sinai. Yeah.
He didn't have to quarantine. He didn't have to wear a mask. He didn't have to do any of that stuff, just based on what we wrote down on the birth certificate. So does it work? Absolutely, it works.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I can't wait to hear your story, Uriel. It's so exciting.
And again, and I have a question. When we go to the airport and go to another country, like Russell J. Gould says that he was transferring him by a letter, like is posting himself to Italy or posting himself to England, and that's how he got onto an airplane or something.
Okay. Yep.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually send notice in advance to the Department of Transportation or the airport authority or that type of department. So we're saying, hey, here's my security entitlements. Here's the proof of it. I'm not a public citizen. I'm departing, April 1st for Paris, France. on this airline, and when I arrive at the airport, this is what I expect. And they will actually come and grab you and escort, not grab you in a bad way. No, grab you in a good way and escort you through the private channels and get you onto the plane, and, you know, no masks and whatever it is that you require. They will accommodate all of that for us. That's just the way.
I want to get into with the stewardess and with the pilots.
Nice.
Without a check.
Yeah, you want to be the co-pilot. Yeah, I hear you. You know, that's awesome.
I don't need it. Let him fly the plane. I want to sit in the first class.
Yeah. And that's what happens once you get that UCC output saying that the debtor is no longer you, the debtor is somebody else. Now that means the liability has transferred, and that means that you can now present all this information to the Department of Transportation or Infrastructure or some of these types of entities. And yeah, they absolutely will respond. Now, I suggest giving them as much lead time as you can. Don't do this 2 hours before you're supposed to get on the plane.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
Again, it boils down to being respectful.
Yeah,
Don't
respectful.
catch them off guard.
Yeah, honorable. Yeah, give them as much heads up as you can, and you'll be kind of shocked at how accommodating they are. Yeah.
Listen, we have a festival in Berlin in a few weeks.
Okay.
Then Anat, you ready for a festival?
That's right. Go on a plane. Let us know how it goes. Video it.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of experiments that we have on the go that we want to do. We're not going to reveal it, but we want to be able to throw it out there and just see how it's received, right? Because a lot of this is just trial and error. Yeah. But with that input that we have, you know, we can definitely experiment with me as well. So
listen, you can travel the world with enough servers and something like this. You can travel the world. Yeah, take the money and go.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
So if I understand correctly, actually, after when you have your UPU register number, when you do a mailing to yourself and you get your own postmaster, because I did the claim of life with Russell like a few months ago, because I didn't hear about you yet.
Yeah.
So we're going up in grad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next time. Actually, next time if I go to France, I just need to declare to the Minister of Transportation where I go, which flight, and to get to be escorted, whatever, on the plane. I don't need any passport or whatever.
Nope.
Because you don't identify with that anymore.
Yeah. Now, we can actually use that UCC output, and we can use going to court and talking to the judge, and through all that information, they eventually will give us that special passport. And once you have that, we're laughing. But
so
how
long does it take? Sorry, how long does it take from the moment you start filing the papers? Because I understood from Scotty, I saw your, first of all, I heard him talking on the group in Australia, the Australian Common Law group. And then I saw the video you did with him. So I understood he went like twice to court, but he was already okay, actually. But how long it take for the process to be done from the beginning until the end, more or less?
I'm going to suggest about 40 days, because of the 40 days, they need 30 of those days to put notice in a newspaper to all the creditors saying, hey, this estate is about to be wound up, or this this estate's about to become active and it will no longer be vulnerable to liability. So hey, anybody out there in the world, you have 30 days to bring a claim that needs satisfying before we lock this estate down, and then you will not have the ability to achieve your satisfaction. So that's 30 days of the process. And that's just built into the legislation. And I'm sure that's going to be global. That's
where I'm about with applying for the white passport too.
Yeah.
So we're approaching the 30 days now.
Yeah. So
listen, I think we are the ambassadors of the big reset, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
The big
We are.
reset, the
Yeah.
big reset will be because of us.
Absolutely. That's exactly what the Jubilee, according to scripture, is what we're doing right now. The Jubilee just doesn't fall in our laps. No,
Yeah.
it's the meek people like
The Jubilee
us.
is when you release slaves. This
Yeah,
is Jubilee.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you're discharging a debt is what the Jubilee means. It means, Uriel, if
Okay.
you owed me $100, after 7 years, I'm no longer able to collect on that debt, Uriel. I have to forgive you. And we start again. And the Jubilee is supposed to happen. The Jubilee
I
is
had 50 years. I had 50 years.
yeah,
It's not 50
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
50 years is for slaves. 50 years is for slaves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be. Yeah,
Okay.
but a man with a little bit of standing or status, yeah, that debt is supposed to be relieved every 7 years. So we are the Jubilee. You know, I completely
It's
agree.
long overdue.
Yeah, we are the Jubilee because this is the private side coming forward and discharging debts on the public side and alleviating that burden of taxation that's now subjected to all of our brothers and sisters around the globe. So there's probably going to be 144,000 of us coming forward doing this equity stuff. That is the Jubilee. That is the Great Reset. We are a major part of it. Yes, we are. Yep.
Darren, I have another question. If about when we file the creditor's name, there's actually, we use the first name and last name as we had it before.
Yep.
Is there a problem or?
No, that's okay. Because we're in the debtor position now, we can actually maintain that and just say, hey, Your Honor, I'm not trying to escape where I am right now in terms of the name. However, I'm coming as this name. I'm producing I'm providing this name unto the court so that now the court can take that name and move it somewhere. If we come to court and saying, I'm not the name, or I don't have any control over that name, or I don't have any power over that name, we're actually telling the judge that we're actually not able to do anything. We've been deemed to be the debtor, so we should not come forward and try to argue that. We shouldn't come forward and say, oh, there's no way I'm the debtor. I didn't consent to this. I didn't agree to this. Oh, yes, we did. So rather than argue that, we just say, yep, I'm the debtor. And as the debtor, this is what I'm going to do. Rather than deny being the debtor. No, it happened. So to deny that fact, you're actually telling the judge that you're a little bit crazy. So yeah, we're not here to deny that. Again, there's a lot of common law guys out there in groups, individuals saying, I still get these messages every day. There's no contract because I didn't consent. Yes, there is a contract, and yes, you did consent. Why do you think you're going to jail? Because there's a contract. You volunteered. And this is something that Dean and I actually missed, 10, 15 years ago. But, I thank heavens that we've figured it out now. So
very good.
So
I don't think you missed it. It just it wasn't revealed to you.
Yeah.
Just this because because when the Corona time came, there was on my laptop they set a lot of videos that like Mark Christopher and the quantum grammar, it was just put in my computer, and that's it. I woke up in the morning, I open my computer on YouTube, I get quantum grammar videos or something like this.
Sure. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I don't use any of that quantum grammar approach. I'm just being told that I don't need to.
No. We left the quantum grammar something like a few months ago.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel right.
Yeah, you know what? Again, I'm a big believer.
It shouldn't be so complicated.
No, we had enough problems trying to deal with it in our native language. Never mind dropping an extraordinary language on top of something we didn't already understand. So again, I've studied equity for a long time now, and nowhere in equity does it talk about quantum grammar or parse syntax. And I know that's a relatively new concept, that probably wasn't even around 100 years ago. But what I'm suggesting is what was around 100 years ago is still applicable today. We didn't need to create a whole other language. I don't think that was necessary. I hope Mark Christopher proves me wrong. But until he proves me wrong, I'm just going to continue with the way I'm doing it. So, but again, I'm not taking away anything from his approach. Again, I love it when people take on a new challenge or a new angle, searching for the truth and the answer. So again, I would never dismiss that man's efforts or Russell J. Gould. No, again, this is all.
I think quantum grammar is going to be the language of the future. Maybe they are ahead of themselves, because we don't know to read legalese. Our understanding in reading is like 5 years old or 6 years old, because when I read a legal form, I understand something like 10% of it.
Yeah, I know.
And now to learn a quantum grammar language. Yeah. Okay, it shouldn't be so difficult.
No, and here's how I would end that statement. At the end of the day, if quantum grammar does become very prolific or it does become very useful, I'm going to suggest, hey, that's still language for the trustees. Let them worry about quantum grammar. I'm going to maintain what I'm doing. And as soon as I need something, I'm just going to call my personal representative and say, hey, Stacy, I need this. Hey, Stacy, the trust needs that. I don't need to talk to my personal representative in quantum grammar.
Okay.
So if quantum grammar does become very important in the future, it's going to be for the trustees anyway, not us.
I'm with you.
Yep.
I'm with you.
Yep. There you go.
I wanted to ask, when you say your personal representative, like it leads me to my last question. I really wanted to picture how you see, if you can dumb down for me, like how is your day-to-day life after you've finished perfecting the birth certificate. What does the day-to-day life look like? I mean, how do you get access to the financing of what you want to do?
Yeah, we've actually had this. This is actually how this happened. This is a real life event. A student of another friend of ours, he went into court. He did exactly what we're talking about. And the judge says this to him: if you require anything, please contact my assistant. He will help you. Your phones will be connected to your securities account. If you need to go buy a loaf of bread, when you walk up to the cash register, you swipe your phone, you walk out with the bread. You don't even have to touch cash ever again. If your personal representative is not with you at the moment, but again, that's their detail. They literally could be following you around all day. Or if you're too private and you don't want that, you send your personal representative a text saying, hey, Jeffrey, I require a loaf of bread delivered to my house. And the personal representative will actually go and make sure that a loaf of bread is delivered to your house. If you need a new vehicle or any of that type of stuff, again, the personal representative is there to help facilitate all these things and do it for you. So once we're able to swipe our phone, or they will give us a card, maybe a special bank card, they will provide us with all these mechanisms.
Talk about the bills and how that
works. And the bills. If you had bills, you would literally just submit the bills to the assistant, and the assistant would go and actually pay for it. That's why the taxation people are always suggesting, keep your receipts, keep your receipts. Okay, well, here's a good reason why: because they're actually going to reimburse you, or they're going to just pay for it initially. We have so many options. We have so many non-restrictions. It's such a sense of freedom that's why it feels so foreign to us, because we're like, well, how could that even be possible? Well, again, with technology the way it is, everything is going to be right here. Our passport's going to be in here. Our driver's license is going to be in here. Our access to our securities account is going to be in here. And with the GPS, the police know exactly where Anat is. And if she's at the grocery store over there buying a loaf of bread, the police are actually supposed to go and provide security while you're in there buying a loaf of bread, because they got a notification on their phone saying, uh-oh, a private individual is less than a mile away. The officer would literally call dispatch and say, okay, I'm going to assist a private individual over there, just to make sure that everything's okay. Because I know there are a lot of news feeds out there right now about people getting beat up on the streets by police officers for all this virus stuff. So you're not going to get beat up on the streets when the police officer's phone got a message saying, nope, do not touch this one. That one's hands off. That one's
You're
special.
Protected.
Yeah, you're literally
You're
protected.
an asset.
Yeah, you're protected. Right? It's actually
but still, I don't know if I want them on my ass all day. Huh?
Oh yeah, no. It's totally up to whatever you want to do. It's whatever you want to do.
But at the same time too, if you're privy to this information, you're tracking this as a chosen one, on some level, you need to step into that power as well. You're getting this information because you're meant to help and change the world, not because you're supposed to sit on a beach and check out of life. Yeah. That's not the purpose of this. Yeah. And we get a lot of questions around, okay, so I get access to my trust. Can I go and buy a whole bunch of vehicles? Can I go and buy a whole bunch of homes? Can I just load myself up with all my favorite toys? Can you talk about that, please?
And the answer to that is yes, you can. But just be prepared to justify it to a judge, because they still don't want us committing waste. The judge is going to say, well, what do you need 100 brand new trucks for? Well, you better have a good answer, something like, well, I intend to create a landscaping company and I intend to employ 100 people. Well, then it's justified. There is no limit to what we want to do as long as you can justify it. Again, to not commit waste. This isn't about hoarding and stockpiling. No. This is about finding appropriate usage for property distributed amongst a whole bunch of people that understand what is going on, and they're here to help the world become a better place. So,
and will it be in their names?
Will it be in their names? It'll be in the all caps name, which is now under a trust, which is in possession of the secured party and the Minister of Finance, the debtors. So all of that will be looked after in the background for us. It's our burden actually gets lightened as we go. Things get easier as we go. They don't get harder and more complicated. And you're suggesting if you didn't want someone following you around all day, sure, you can just say, hey, I'll text you when I need something. Oh, no problem. Or meet me at the car dealership so that when I go get the 100 trucks that I need, you're there to verify it. You're there to certify it. You're there to approve it. Now, here's the cool thing. Once we go through court once and we do all this process, we never have to go back to court again for approval. Once we get our approval, we're trusted. The system is saying, hey, Kim, you are allowed to go get 100 trucks. And you don't actually have to come back and ask for our approval. You only have to do it once. And then you're off on your own doing what you need to do. So it becomes very liberating. It becomes very free, no restrictions. Again, as long as we're
simple.
Yeah, it's simple. As long as we're in keeping with the doctrines of equity, as long as we're not doing harm, and as long as we're not, doing immoral things, then selfish. Yeah. All this just automatically works.
Yeah. It's not meant to be used for ill will or to harm or to get ahead. You don't need to have that energy anymore.
Why would you have to get ahead when you have access to everything?
Exactly.
What are you going to do? Try to get ahead of yourself? Well, that doesn't even make sense, right? See?
I think people will have to think about a project. Like I have this project of planting trees and having ecologic village here in Israel.
Yeah.
But because I have family in France, I would love to have something similar over there, but I still have time for that.
Sure. And I mean, some of our projects are going to be vast. Yeah. Some of our projects are going to be immense. Like one of our personal pet projects, cleaning up the oceans. The first thing we're going to do, stop commercial fishing. We're literally going to stop it.
Bye-bye fish. Sorry.
We're literally going to stop commercial fishing until the oceans have a chance to regenerate themselves, because we can't, as stewards of the planet and people with exercising their dominion, maintaining the garden, if you will, we can no longer let these corporations do what they do to rape the planet and essentially kill us. So no, that's the first thing we're doing.
We'll piss some people off too. Yeah, so be it.
Yeah, we're gonna piss
12 months.
We're gonna piss a lot of people off, but I don't care why, because the military actually protects us now, and because we're trying to protect the environment, that actually supersedes the fishermen's needs. Okay, so well, if you take all the fishermen away, how are they going to put food on their table? Well, that's what the Jubilee's for.
We'll give you money.
How much did you make last year in your fishing job, sir? Oh, you made $100,000 last year? Great. Take 2. We just donated $200,000 to you and your family so you can go do something else. If something else is you're going to sit your ass on the couch and play Xbox all day, well, that's not very productive. But if that's what you choose to do, fine. Why? Because the fish and the whales and the coral reefs are more important than your job.
They need a break.
They need a break because we as humans, and I don't like to use that word because we all know what that means, but us as humans have done nothing literally but destroy the planet. So somebody actually finally has to come through with power, vision, and money and the balls to actually do what we're going to do. And again, fixing the oceans is just one of the list.
But all of our loved ones, you guys are all going to be attracted to different projects, different things that really motivate and inspire you. And that's the whole point of this. That's why this is a certain energy. This is 5D. This is the fifth dimension. We're going to attract people of the same kind that have the same passion, where we all collaborate. And if we're going to a beach, is to have a staff meeting. I have no problem with that. Yeah. Collaborate the greatest minds in the world for good. Yeah. And then send us on our way, and let's do some serious, massive change.
Yeah. Between poverty and homelessness and the inequality that's in the world, that's all going to end as soon as we come forward, taking our control back and exercising it through the 10 commandments. Archangel Michael at our back, nothing's going to stop us.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And even feel the energy of that, you know, like it just stirs us up. We can't wait. And that's why there's no way this can fail.
Yep.
It feels too good.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true, but it's true what you're saying, but we still need the paperwork. Dreaming, but in the paper.
Don't get us down. Well, they're already. They're already.
Yeah, we already have people through. We can't have the, I have to see this first. That's the, I'm not going to let this 3D, you know, until I get a hold of the 5D. Yeah. That's not how it works. This is all about leaps of faith. This is all about jumping.
Yeah, leaps of faith.
If you're waiting for something, you'll be waiting. You'll get your paperwork rejected. Mark my words. We've seen it within our group. We've seen it within other people. Any fear, it's going to rise up and it's going to block you until you deal with it.
Yeah.
And this, there's no fear. There's no, me in my side, there's no fear at all. I get directed from upstairs.
Higher dimensions.
Higher dimensions. Yeah. I'm a shaman, so I get I'm very, what you call it, very connected.
Connected.
Yeah, excellent.
And you have to be.
Yeah, which is why you're here. Those who are not connected aren't part of our Zoom meetings. They're not part of our collective direction. They're not here to save the planet. They're here as, you know, they're watching on the sidelines, but do those people have a use? Oh yeah, we'll find a use for them. Again, even though they don't have the wisdom and the knowledge now, that I actually look at that as a challenge. That's what my job is to go be a fisher of men. Educate, go grab people that don't believe and turn them into believers.
Yeah, that's my job also.
Yeah, that's my job. And again,
that's mine also.
Yeah, we run into people throwing stones at us, you know, every other day. And I don't care if another man or woman says that my process is garbage, says that my stuff won't work. That's fine, because you're not proving or you're not showing me how your system works.
Let's see what you got.
So, so until you show me what you're doing, you're going to criticize us for what we're doing. And
Stop throwing stones.
Yeah, I look at that and I just go, whatever.
We actually giggle.
Yeah,
we're like, oh, you.
Yeah, I
just need more love.
Yeah, we literally just. So
we started already to do a program in the alternative media to explain things, but we cannot really give everything until we go to the other side.
That's right.
We get.
It's going to be next, Limor. It's going to be next week. It's going to be next week. That's it.
You think so?
We're there already.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It won't take me long to compress the package like I'm talking about. I will be able to do that relatively quick. I'm going to disappear for one moment. I got to get my computer charger. So
I'll do that.
Okay.
Darren, I want just to ask you a question about a sentence here that we argued yesterday. I found it while we were talking. It's about the notice to the court. I am transferring 100% security interest in certificate interest in registered. We were arguing about this. The security interest, what do you mean by that?
Security interest is another word for the legal title. So we have a legal title and we have an equitable title. We have two. We have always had our equitable title. Problem is, when we made application to have possession of a legal title, it's like I put on a new body suit that covered up my legal title. So now all the world can see is, covered up my equitable title. So now all the world sees is this new legal suit that I'm wearing. That's why we are subject to prosecution. Once we transfer the security interest or the legal title to the legal owner, we're free. Once they have that, we now get to enjoy the equitable title. We can't enjoy the equities when we're wearing our legal suit. So we literally have to literally take off my legal suit, put it into an envelope and mail it away.
Okay, but just in order to find exactly this translation in Hebrew, I want to understand, do you use the interest as an interest in bonds, in where the interest goes up and up or down?
Yeah,
or
no.
do you use it as an interest in interest?
Yeah,
something interesting.
Yeah, so it's not the money interest, it's the interest. I'm interested in going outside today and playing with my horse. That's the interest.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were arguing about this yesterday, you see?
Yeah, so that's what that interest is. And again, so this is where I know I've mentioned a couple times in the past, the position of being grantee. I know Dean and myself and many others have explained what grantor is. That grantor means I'm able to grant something or deliver something, but in order to grant that thing, I actually had to have possession of the thing in order to deliver it. So grantee means you have possession of the legal title and the equitable title. It's a whole complete title. And here's the twist. When you have both titles, that means no trust is existing. A trust only exists when you take one of these titles and you get rid of it. Now a trust happens by default. It literally happens automatically. So we took something, we made it really good, and then we gave it to somebody else. And now that somebody else owes us an obligation or a duty. Oh, super powerful.
Hey, that's where you just get mesmerized with this one. You're like, okay.
How can I pass you? I could find the law about the papers, and the what you call it, security interest, if you want, in Hebrew, and you could just
Security Transfers Act.
Yeah.
Ah, you did already, Anat?
No, you just asked the name and I repeated it. Securities Transfer Act. That's the one we need to look for.
I have it already in my computer somewhere, I think.
Oh,
I have
perfect.
to look for it.
Yep.
I'm going to pass it to Anat, and she's going. Do you have Telegram? One of you? Do you have Telegram?
Yes. Anat, if you can please send me your phone number, and then I'll put you. We have a small, like I said, a very small divergence group of just team leads, so that we can keep it small. It doesn't get plugged up with a whole bunch of updates and all that kind of stuff. So
yes.
And
so
then again,
Kim
will send you those.
Sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Put it in the chat.
I'm going to. So I will give it to Anat, and she will send it to you.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yep.
Excellent. Wow.
Any other questions, anybody?
Yeah, no. We are. No questions. No questions.
Yeah, no questions.
I have one last stupid question. How do I identify? I get to the court.
Yeah.
They ask me my name. What's the sentence that I said? I couldn't find the video of it. The words that you use to identify yourself.
Yeah, just Your Honor, I'm Anat, protected purchaser. Anat, security entitlement holder. Put a different title there. Just get rid of your surname. And then the judge is going to say, what are you talking about? well, Your Honor, if you wish to hear my evidence that I'm about to present, that's going to require your court to transfer that security interest or that legal title, Your Honor, that's why I'm no longer using my surname, because it has been surrendered. Once you've surrendered it, the judge can now not, he absolutely cannot compel you to associate with that name ever again. He can't. And if he is doing it, it's only to maintain the public illusion, but you just have to stand your ground. You just have to have faith and say, yeah, no, he cannot attach liability to me because I've attached the liability to somebody else. And I now have priority. So all of this is an illusion. And as James from Australia there has proved, the judge got up and walked out 3 times. And he finally came back and he just said, okay, fine, come back in a month. But when you come back in a month, I want you to do this and I want you to answer this and, you know, some other stuff. But the point was, he gave James a month to deal with this matter privately. And that's what's going to change the entire game. So progress. Don't be afraid. Don't, even though the judge might be bullying you, or you're going to stand there and say, wow, how can the judge not know what I'm talking about? The judge just said there's no process at law that may deal with this situation. And you're thinking, I know, that's why we got to go to chambers so you can hear my equitable defenses. Let's go. That's all that's really going to happen. Now, again, when you bring it to the judge and you say, hey, the only thing I need here, Your Honor, is for you to complete the transfer